Hey, MCE crew. What's taking place right now in America and across the world with these requirements, you know the requirements I'm talking about, right? Do a certain thing or lose your job. This whole scenario is merely a dress rehearsal for a larger initiative that's being put in place to control every aspect of your life through your money. Okay? In fact, the United States government actually has designs on really making it their money. You go out, work, you know, expend your labor to generate money, and that money flows not to you, but straight to the federal government. That's a plan that the Biden administration is mulling over as we speak. Now, I know that sounds just fantastical. I know it sounds unbelievable, maybe even conspiratorial, but it's real. In fact, I'm going to let you hear Saul Amonrova. We talked about her before. She is the Biden nominee to be the comptroller of the currency. She would have purview over well over 1,200 financial institutions, more than likely the one you bank at, all of the banks. And she wants to make it a policy of the United States government that not only does the Fed do away with banks and all deposits go directly into the Federal Reserve Bank, okay, which is not federal, has no reserves, and is not a bank. But she also wants to make it such that in inflationary times, you can be prohibited from getting your hands on your money. Now, the reason this is taking place is because the United States of America, the government, understands full well that the dollar is no longer going to be the world's reserve currency. So they just can't print it up out of thin air once we're no longer the petrodollar or the world's reserve currency. So they just plan on stealing it from you. I know you don't believe. I know it's tough to believe. It's not that you don't trust me necessarily, but it's just unbelievable. So let me let you hear Saul Amonrova in her own words. Here's the first clip.
So that's where my paper is kind of taking off and kind of trying to run with that ball and see how we can push the idea of creating Fed accounts, digital dollar deposit accounts that would be universally available to everybody at the Fed, to kind of push it a little bit to the limit and to imagine what would it be like if instead of being just a public option for deposit banking, this would be actually the full transition. In other words, there will be no more private bank deposit accounts, and all of the deposit accounts will be held directly at the Fed.
Okay, so you heard her. All deposit accounts held directly at the Fed. No more private deposit accounts. That's what the nominee for the comptroller of the currency of the United States of America, not the Soviet Union, not communist China, but the United States of America's nominee for comptroller of the currency just said that. So it doesn't matter at this point whether or not this woman is nominated. Okay. The government has telegraphed where they're going, the direction they want to take. And again, it's because they know what I've been saying here for quite some time, that by the early 2030s, the US dollar will no longer be the world's reserve currency. So again, they're just going to steal the money from you. They're going to make you a slave, pretty much. And she will actually confirm that in a moment in the second clip. Let me give you some background on her. She is from Kazakhstan, Soviet Kazakhstan. I had some people in the comment section of the last video we did on her, her little fan club or whatever, tried to convince me that she was just the best thing since sliced bread, and I was the one that was wrong. Listen, I loathe communism. It's killed millions upon millions of people, and it has totally prevented and prohibited people from living up to their potential. We might have had a cure for cancer now if it had not been for communism just crushing people down into, this soulless state. Now look, you may not remember the Soviet Union. I do. because I'm old enough to remember the Cold War. However, if you want an example of what communism is doing right now, then just look no further than Cuba, 90 miles off of the coast of Florida. All right. Why do you think people in Cuba create ocean going vessels out of 1960s era pickup trucks in order to escape Cuba? Now, have you seen anyone going through those lengths to escape the United States of America? Okay. They're crossing shark infested waters in vessels that are barely seaworthy. This is a very, very risky trip, but they do it to escape communism. Berlin, there was East Berlin, or East Germany and West Germany, and people would defy security dogs, landmines, barbed wire, snipers, literally, to try and escape East Germany in order to get to West Germany, because West Germany was, Western philosophy democracy, whereas East Germany was Soviet-style communism. Okay, why are these people trying to escape communism, risking their lives to do it, leaving their families, okay, in order to make that happen? Okay, if it's so good. So this is what Saul Amonrova comes out of. She graduated from the University of Moscow in the Soviet Union, not Russia, the Soviet Union. She graduated before the breakup. And she went there on a Vladimir Lenin scholarship. Okay. So this is what is in line to get a major financial position in the United States government. So they're telling you actively what the plan is. How can you sidestep this? How can you maintain your financial freedom and independence, financial independence and otherwise? How can you do that if this is the direction we're headed in? Now she's going to explain to us how she believes the U.S. government can just take our money whenever it needs to, okay? This is the money shot here. This is the part you got to listen to, because I'm not engaging in hyperbole. I am telling you the God's honest truth as it's coming from the horse's mouth. This woman wants to appropriate your money. She wants the power of the United States government to be able to do that.
And there are very interesting implications from that thought experiment, for example, with the much more direct and proactive tools of monetary policy, like helicopter money, which is, considered radical primarily because economists really do not know how to manage the issue of what will happen in the inflationary environment when the central bank needs to contract the supply of money. How is it politically feasible for the central bank to effectively take money away from people's accounts? And so in this paper, I try to figure out a mechanism that would actually achieve that goal functionally without draining the money permanently from people's accounts. And we'll see if it works, if it doesn't.
So you heard her. We're going to try not to drain it permanently from your account, but we'll see. See if it works out. Okay. If this doesn't tell you what's coming, okay, and again, I think all of this is going to make itself evident, really, really evident by the early 2030s. So that means you have time.
You think about the pervasiveness of systematically type behavior in a particular social venue. For example, financial services industry, right? Then the problem of managing becomes a structural problem in which law can potentially have a lot of say. So if we make certain types of behavior systemically unprofitable, for example, irrational, something that is not rewarding, then that behavior will naturally kind of fall away. And overall, the system will become less prone to being overtaken by a bunch of that continue to pursue their own private goals, their own insatiable appetites for private gain at the expense of the rest of us, the rest of the society.
The parts that are bleeped out are her using the word a-holes to refer to an entire industry. This is an old communist trick to demonize a whole group of people in order so that those people can be pretty much eliminated, okay, from society. So she knows her craft very well. She is a communist, okay, let's not, mince words here. She was educated as a communist. She's on record as saying that she believes the Soviet system was better than the system that we have here in the United States. Never mind the fact that the Soviet system collapsed, and guys like Vladimir Putin even have derided that economic system of communism that the Soviet Union was under. But you'll hear people here in America, so-called true communists and socialists, who will indict him. He's not a true communist. No, you're not a true communist, because what you should do is you should get up and move to a true communist country. If you don't speak about it, be about it, is what I'm saying. And just understand the tone in which she is saying this and the obvious viewpoint she has of the financial services industry. I also want you to think about this. When these guys refer to, Wall Street's bad, if you got an IRA, 401k, insurance policy, any of that stuff, okay, you are Wall Street. So they're talking about you. But the whole design here is to literally appropriate your money, steal it from you, okay, and put it in the coffers of not even the government, but the Fed. The Federal Reserve Bank is not a government entity. You, as a voter, have no control over it whatsoever. This is theft. You hear people always say taxation is theft. This idea that she has right now is straight up theft. So what should you be doing here? Some people are going to say digital assets, crypto is the answer. I don't know. Because if you look at what the United States is doing with crypto, they're no longer fighting it. They are incorporating it into their web, okay? So what they've done recently is the SEC signed off on the crypto, on the Bitcoin futures ETF. We did the video about that. You can go watch that. If the SEC is signing off on it, that's not fighting them. That's saying, come on, what we're going to do is we're going to bring you into this web of regulation, and that way we can keep an eye on what everybody is doing, all right? So money, cash money, is losing its value at an incredible clip, okay, 1% each month, roughly, with this inflationary period that we're going through. You got that. You've got the fact that crypto is being, again, as we just said, regulated to a point where the government has its eye on it. So you're not going to be able to hide that from them. What could you possibly, put away that you could call your own? Okay, maybe shares in a company, if they're in your name. Okay, I don't know if this plan includes brokerages yet. Okay, so that's one thing. Value in a permanent insurance policy. I don't believe she has purview over the insurance companies yet. Okay, remember we discussed banks are for borrowing money from. You will go to the bank today, and the best rate you may be able to get on a house is maybe somewhere in the 4%, 5% range. But if you put your money in the bank to gain a rate of interest, it's going to be far below 0.5%. And that's their business model. I'm not mad at them, but you need to know that. So banks are for borrowing money from. But a lot of banks want you to put money in that bank in order to get a loan from that bank, especially if you're doing, you have a business account. So in the future, I plan to keep a minimum amount of money in the bank. If they move toward this model where the Fed is the one that basically is going to have your money under their control and give you permission to put your hands on it, I'm going to keep a very little amount of money in there, okay? And I think that people would do well to concentrate their real estate in other places. Concentrate their Freudian slip. Concentrate their wealth in other places. I'm thinking about real estate more, okay? Farmland in particular, I talked to you about that some time ago. Uh, Gold, precious metals, silver, okay? Uranium, I'm talking about maybe an ETF. But those hard assets are starting to look better and better. In short, some of those you will at some point have to convert into cash, maybe. There is also the strong possibility that you could take loans that are backed by these assets to live off of. Okay, so there are a few different configurations of how you could work this. Uh, and I'm not sure how that would look for me just yet. But as I develop it, I will certainly, share what I'm doing. Now, again, as I always say, I'm not suggesting that you go out here and do this. I don't really know you at all, so I can't suggest anything for your particular situation. But you do need to understand that it is our situation as Americans when we hear this nominee talking. We got politicians in there like, remember Bernie Sanders? Elon Musk put out a tweet today, as a matter of fact, that said, pertaining to Bernie Sanders, he said, I didn't know you were still alive, which is hilarious. But yeah, he is still alive and still out there spouting his communist crap. I'm not even going to call it socialism. It's funny how Bernie Sanders, uh, Umrova, so many others in politics here in the United States. Notice how they don't leave the United States, okay? Notice how they stay here. There are plenty of countries that share their philosophy. Why stay here, okay, if it's so bad? Bernie Sanders calls himself a socialist, yet and still he's been able to amass millions of dollars. This has to be a great country anytime a socialist is able to get rich. And Umrova doesn't look like she's doing too bad herself. Okay, she's a college professor, tenured, probably got money coming out of the woodwork, okay, that she's keeping, right? All right, so that's all for now. Let me leave you with this clip of old Bernie talking about how he thinks bread lines are good. You got to understand where these people are coming from so that you can get the picture of what they will be espousing as far as policies that will directly affect your life.
You know, it's funny, sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing.
All right, guys, so that's it for now. I want you to go ahead and watch this video. You have got to get armed with information about how to become and how to maintain your financial independence. It's not something you just, achieve and you cross a finish line and that's the end of it. No, you have to maintain it, and then you have to pass that knowledge on to help others achieve and maintain the same thing. So watch this video and I will talk to you soon.